Thank you very much. It's very nice to be here, and thank you for inviting me to this Scandinavian week, which is of course a great... Yes. It's a great opportunity to go here. Je voulais vous dire aussi merci en français. Plusieurs de mes amis, de mes collègues, de nos collaborateurs au sein du gouvernement suédois ont étudié ici. Je suis bien consciente de la qualité de l'éducation que vous avez ici. Et je sais que vous, en sortant d'ici, vous êtes des vrais Européens, avec beaucoup de connaissances, capacité d'analyse, une curiosité d'apprendre, comprendre et contribuer au procès quotidien qui est l'intégration européenne. Je n'ai malheureusement pas eu l'occasion d'étudier ici moi-même, mais je crois quand même pouvoir me tituler comme européenne. Comme Frédérica l'a dit, j'ai passé presque toute ma vie d'adulte dans les affaires européennes. J'ai grandi en France, j'ai travaillé en Allemagne et en Espagne, et j'ai travaillé comme chercheur et professeur de sciences politiques à Göteborg dans les affaires européennes, et pendant 7 ans comme membre de l'Union européenne, du Parlement européen, et depuis septembre 2006 dans cette capacité de ministre des Affaires européennes au sein du gouvernement suédois. I have been invited to speak on the topic a Swedish vision for Europe, and I will do that relating to the challenges that we are facing and also to the upcoming Swedish presidency, because that gives a nice structure. And then I hope that you feel free to ask questions or give comments afterwards. I think one can say that one of the main aims for the government when we took power in Sweden in 2006, after a very long period outside government, was of course to bring changes nationally and to show an alternative to the citizen. But also one very important aim was to bring back Sweden into the core of Europe. And I'm proud to say that we have gone from a member state quite sceptical towards the European Union to a country that is now a constructive, active member, approaching at least the core of value. We are embracing the European Union, its values, its possibilities. And our citizens have followed suit. Unanimously, the polls and different scientific research shows that never before has so many Swedish embraced the European Union. Never before have so few people felt that they want to leave the European Union, which is a great process and a great progress. And I think the government and the citizens see Europe more or less the same way. We want a Europe that is eco-friendly, enables economic growth and increasing welfare. We want a Europe that is secure, open, takes an important role in world politics, promoting democracy, stability and peace. And we want a Europe that is democratic and makes sure that it enjoys the trust of its citizens. And these visions, or these concrete goals, are of course something that we daily strive to accomplish. And we will do so even more from the 1st of July, when we take over the presidency of the European Union. It's a unique possibility, of course, to move important processes forward and to facilitate the decision-making in important areas, as those I mentioned. You are probably, as students, well aware of the circumstances in the European Union and Europe as a whole right now. We have quite difficult circumstances when we take over the presidency. There will be a newly elected parliament. That parliament later on will appoint and approve a new commission. And that means that traditional, very important partners for a presidency, the parliament and the commissions, will not be fully operational until later in the fall. In addition to that, we have the complex process of the Lisbon Treaty. As you know, it has not yet been ratified in the Czech Republic, and most likely there will be a new referendum later this fall in Ireland. So we live in a sort of emptiness between the current Nice Treaty and possibly the entrance into force of the Lisbon Treaty later this fall in the midst of the Swedish presidency. There's also a possibility that there is no referendum or that the Irish vote no again, but we need to be mentally prepared to move in this transition between the two treaties. And that causes, of course, lots of both practical and political problems that we are prepared and will try to handle. Personally, I surely hope that the Lisbon Treaty will be ratified in all countries and that it will enter into force, because it will make European Union work in a much better way that is more democratic, transparent and effective. So extensive work is now underway to prepare ourselves for the issues to be dealt with during our presidency. but sometimes life is like the song by John Lennon. Life is what happens to you while you're busy making other plans. It doesn't always turn out the way you want it to. Planning is important, but we also have to expect the unexpected and plan for the unplanned. And I think recent development with the economic crisis, the Georgia-Russia crisis, the gas and Gaza crises show that sometimes you have to let go of your original planning and focus on something totally else. I heard from Fredrika and others that the theme for this Cultural Scandinavian Week is sustainable development. And already in 1987, this is of course a very opportune theme to have, but already in 1987, the Brundtland report by the then Norwegian Prime Minister, also known as Our Common Future, alerted the world into the urgency of making progress towards economic development that could be sustainable without depleting natural resources or harming the environment. The report provided a key statement on sustainable development, defining it as, and I quote, development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. And that was true then, and it is true now. And tackling climate change is indeed the biggest task facing the world right now. It requires global solutions in which the EU must be on the offensive to reach agreement that will match the high expectations that exist in many countries and among our citizens. Because if we continue like before, by 2030, world energy demand will be 50% higher than today, and global carbon dioxide emissions will have increased by nearly 60%. And we can already today witness dramatic facts. Climate change could further reduce available fresh water by as much as 20 to 30% in certain regions. The United Nations predict that approximately 50 million environmental migrants could be a reality by 2020. Sea level rise might threaten the habitat of millions of people. And I could, of course, go on this negative note, but let me underline that climate change is not only a threat, it also brings opportunities. Time has come to seize those opportunities, since they will help altering climate change, but at the same time improving European competitiveness. By being at the forefront, Europe can not only tackle the threat, but also become leader in developing the technology that we need. Concerted action could offer new business possibilities, jobs, and a vast export market. Globally, the overall value of low-carbon energy sector could be high, and according to the Commission, an estimation, of course, but still, it could employ more than 25 million people globally. The EU emission trading scheme is worth 20 billion euros a year, and it could be worth 20 times more in 2030. A climate-friendly economy needs structural change, but it is also clear that we have gains to make. And furthermore, it can make Europe more secure from future possible supply problems. So this is the background to the first Swedish priority under our incoming presidency, to halt climate change and improve the environment. We will play a leading role with our partners, of course, and the other member states and institutions to make sure that the EU can deliver on these important issues. And most important is, of course, the upcoming climate conference under the United Nations in Copenhagen in December. The EU made an important contribution when the member states agreed, and then it was confirmed in the European Parliament last December on a climate package. That was a sine qua non to reach a global agreement. It's not enough, but it's a very important first step to show that this is what we are prepared to do in Europe. Now it is up to our global partners, US, Russia, China, Brazil, India, Japan, etc., to also deliver if we want to come to some sort of post-Kyoto agreement in December. That would, of course, be one of the most important agreements for this decade. We must also exploit the full potential of environmental technology and continue to work on market-based instruments. It is possible to combine economic growth and a climate-oriented growth, and sustainable growth. We will look to several policies adaptation to climate change in order to adopt an action plan, give priority to elaborating development policy and programs that takes into account the needs for adaptation to climate change in developing countries. And we will work to foster trade and a well-functioning global market for climate-friendly goods, services and technologies.